Okay, I'm a little bit late to this one. This is Hell Is Us, the official extended gameplay trailer or overview. I have absolutely no idea what this is, but one of my friends told me I should really look at this. Hell Is Us. Ooh. Is this another Souls-like? It's like future medieval.
I'm the creative director and the art director on Hell Is Us. I hope you enjoyed the trailer that you've seen recently. Today we're back in the spotlight. We're going to show you a bit of gameplay, a bit more than what you've seen in the trailer, and I hope that you will enjoy this part greatly. Played and experienced, especially the fact that you know, there was no hand holding, there was no silver plattering. You kind of had to figure stuff out by yourself. You were really in.
Okay, so what I'm hearing there is this is gonna be another one of those Souls-like, or it may not be a Souls-like, but it's gonna be another one of those games where they don't tell you where you need to go or what you need to do. And listen, let me tell you something. I don't care how good, I don't care, God, Jesus Christ, my contacts. Sorry. I don't care how good your game is. If you make it extremely difficult to figure out what to do, I'm dropping that shit like hot garbage. I'm sorry, like, I don't care how good your gameplay is. That's why I can't play Dark Souls. That's one of the reasons why I can't play the Dark Souls games, because they don't tell you where you need to go. That's one of the reasons. There's a few other ones, but I have a video about that on the channel.
Of your exploration and your own discoveries, and this is what we're trying to do in Hell Is Us. Obviously with modern flair and kind of like modern knowledge of game design and whatnot, but very much put you back in the driver's seat of your experience and of your exploration, and then the result and the joy of your discoveries. Peacekeeper, he quit his post, he went AWOL, infiltrated.
Okay, all right, I know this is a gameplay overview, but it's like, all right, that's enough. Like, can we get to some gameplay? Got dude just walking around. I don't really care about all that extra shit. Just you know, I want to see some combat.
And it just never real life could have told you the exact same thing. So the environments, the visuals of the game are not just there to illustrate, they're there to communicate. So you need to,
okay, I kind of like that.
Open your eyes, you need to open your ears to what NPCs tell you, and you'll find your way and you'll discover things, and you will truly own your discoveries and the great joy that comes with that.
Okay. I will give the, all right, like I said earlier, that it's a, you know, if you don't tell me where to go, I'll drop the game. But I like their thought process on it, where it's like, at least there will be an NPC, a main NPC that will tell you what you need to do. Not necessarily tell you where you need to go, but what you need to do to get to where you need to go. I like that. That I can deal with, and I actually appreciate it. Let's continue. I'll fuck with that. A little bit of a challenge, but they didn't make it like impossible or make it too, it doesn't seem like it'd be too crazy easy to get lost.
So here's another scene or another section that could be considered part of our player plattering philosophy. So here's a puzzle, and there's obviously a solution to the puzzle, but nothing eventually is going to tell you, you know, if the player ends up kind of like taking a bit of time to find a solution. There's not going to be any artificial kind of ways that are going to help him or tell him what to do. Remy's not going to start talking to himself, or i.e. talking to the player with, you know, little clues into whatever. It's really up to you to figure them out. And in the way that the player plattering is inserted in this, we have a good example here with your trusty drone named Cappy. By the way, you can tell now that Remy has his poncho and he has his sword and he has his drone. So it's after he's acquired them, right? Because at the beginning of the game, you saw
real quick. I'm gonna check out the comments later, but I wonder how many comments are gonna be that say this. they're definitely taking from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. You got the poncho, the little bot on the shoulder, and then the laser sword. It's technically a laser sword, but it's a glowing sword. That's just funny.
Like that. Now, there's a reason why he ends up dressed like this. There's a reason why he needs these things, this equipment, but we don't need to get into these details today. So anyway, there's an ancient language in the country, and you kind of find it throughout the game. And the drone has a software, one of his many softwares, and this specific one can translate the engine language. But if you've seen the trailer, you of course notice that there's another big aspect to the game, which is third-person melee combat. So we like to say that the game is 50% exploration and 50% combat. The game is not at all only about combat, and it's definitely not at all just walking around and figuring stuff out. It's a combination of both, and we also think that the way that we've combined them is quite refreshing and quite unique in Hell Is Us. So, like I said, combat is an integral part of the game. I do want to emphasize now that we're not a Souls-like game. The game is a lot more mid-core. It's have fun, get in it, and hack and slash. It doesn't mean it's easy. It's not overly hard. There's a learning curve. There's subtleties. There's little things that we've invented just for the flair and the flavor of Hell Is Us. It's very crunchy. I think the friction is pretty good. And
So it's gonna be kind of like Stellar Blade
so
or something like that.
Of enemies in the game. So we have kind of like the more common enemy type, which we call the hollow.
Hold on, let me go back. I want to see that. I like their enemy design. Is that like its arms? It's like, yeah, it is. It's like this. It's kind of cool looking. I really like their enemy design. I'll get into that later.
It's these kind of humanoid bipedal white enemies that you can see here with the holes in their faces and their chests and whatnot. So obviously there's a reason why they're called hollow walkers, and there's different types of them and different kind of tiers of strength and powers. But when you're facing pretty much the biggest threats in the game, it's what we call like a dual entity. So it's like a hollow walker has a haze inside of it. So it's when the haze is present. I'm not going to get into the details right away of what the haze represents. It's all part of the lore and what you will figure out in the game. But when you're facing a combo like these dual entities, and it can go to like 3 of them, 4 of them, there's the herders, there's the fervents, and different types like that. But that's when you really need to master the combat system. That's when you start having to use all the tools and techniques at your disposal. The drone has tons of skills to upgrade it, and the drone is very much your little sidekick to help you in fighting multiple enemies at a time. He's not a sidekick in the sense where he talks and he has an AI. He's very much a drone that has its own protocol to do this crowd management during the combat. So you have your different weapons, you have your limbic skills, attack to weapons, which is basically you consider as your magic. Even though in the game it's not considered magic, there's kind of like a scientific base to them. But that's when you really need to master all the.
Can you like not parry? Why is he like, he's just getting clocked in the back of the head?
And get in the melee with these kind of dual or triple or quadruple entities and being able to manage them and be victorious. So,
okay, hold on. Let me go back a little bit. Did he not block anything? One thing okay, this is another thing I don't like. I hate stamina bars for when you attack. I cannot stand them.
Weapons, you have your limbic skills.
I hate managing a stamina bar for attacks. Yeah, he's just like, he's getting hit. He's not blocking anything.
Crowd management during the combat.
Or parrying, I mean.
Weapons, you have your limbic skills, attack to weapons, which is basically you consider as your magic.
Yeah, I don't see like a parry system.
So
I hope there is one.
Here specifically, you can see a combat against a limbic entity that has multiple hazes attached to the hollow walker. That's when it gets really complex, it gets very overwhelming because you're alone, but you got your trusty little Cappy. So you need to use its skill. So for example, Cappy has a skill where you can distract an entity, either a haze or a hollow walker. You can use the forward charge, which is one of my favorite. You also have the Typhoon. You have the super dash skill, which is another.
I like that move.
You can start dashing sideways.
Dual axes is probably going to be my go-to.
It gives you like this Japanese action game style. And then you also have your limbic skills, so you need to find the glyphs in the game and you need to attach them to your weapons. And this is when you start getting powers that come from these weapons that allow you to take care of these enemies in much more powerful and kind of like impressive ways. That's when the VFX and the sound effects all come together and give you this combat bang that we all like and love. Okay, so now let's take a little pause from the combat and let's go back to the investigation.
Okay, so I didn't notice any kind of like parrying with it. So it seems like it's going to be your standard block the attack when it comes type of thing.
And the exploration. So
I don't really care about the exploration stuff. Like I don't really care. That's that's just gonna bore me. Hang on, let me go. Let's see some more combat. That's what we care about.
At any given moment, you will also be attracted by a And as I spoke quite a bit already, the game doesn't hold your hand or doesn't really tell you where to go. So out of your main leads or clues or ideas that you have in your head of what you're supposed to do or where you're supposed to go at any given moment, you will also be attracted by a lot of points of interest or just little things in the environment that pique your curiosity. And as you walk towards them or explore, that's when you'll start also making a ton of like peripheral or side discoveries on your own, things that you cannot solve right away, or things that you might think that there is a thing to be done with it when there's none. And it's all part of the fun stuff and the kind of like experience that we're providing in the game. So as you can see here, there's a tree with people that have been hung. Like I said, this takes place during a very vicious civil war between two different ethnicities in the countries that are still basically the exact same people. And you found this tree. It's actually not part of the golden path or not part of something tremendously important in the game, but there's still something around it. There's still something to be found, and it's probably linked to more stuff that you can do in relation to it. But that you had to do your own exploration to find it, and even more of your own exploration and investigation to figure out what it's linked to and what you can do from it if you want.
See, when he's
So here we are in
when he's dealing with combat stuff, like it seems like it'd be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
To us, like I said at the beginning, there's a bit of a love letter to games from the 90s, but one of the challenges was the game takes place in a contemporary setting. The game takes place in 1993, and yet we still wanted dungeons in the game, and I didn't want the dungeons to take place in an abandoned metro station or, you know, in an abandoned factory because it's the modern era. I still wanted the dungeons to be very ancient things, and this brings us to another really important aspect of the game, or one of the very important themes of the game, which is history, historicity, deep history, so history that goes even before history. So there's a lot of mysteries and a lot of lore, and the origin of what's going on in the country and the link to the Civil War is all tied to that deep history and also what has happened since. I won't get into too much details because that will be part of another video for you guys, but you can see a bit of it here, and it shows you the varied palettes and moods and atmospheres that we have in the game, which also I think is something quite interesting and unique that we're doing in Hell Is Us.
Very intriguing. I'm assuming this is going to be like a boss fight.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for being with us. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm extremely grateful.
All right, so first off, before we go check out the comments, my thoughts on some of the things that I see. So one of the things I'm concerned about is going to be the frame rate. It could be just that they're running it in 30 just for the presentation, but I don't know. It's like I always get kind of wary about that when they're doing a type of showcase for the game and you're showing it in 30. It's like, it's not like you had to, like, you know, stream it and all. It's just, you could have ran it at the best. I don't understand why these companies won't run the game at the best quality when they're showing the game. So, and the only reason why it's a little bit of a concern is because of stuff like this. In a sense where he talks and he has the enemy. I don't know if it's just me. It might be just me, but the enemies feel very, and it could be completely by design. They're very, the animations feel really choppy. But that, again, it could be because they wanted it to be like that. Like, let me see if I can find.
The haze represents, it's all part of the lore. And
I don't know if you guys can see it.
These dual entities.
I think it's by design that they're like that. They're supposed to be very jittery in their movements and stuff. So, but because my eyes are like watching everything, it also feels like it's like the 30 FPS is getting to me. But it could be just completely by how they wanted the design to be. I already spoke about how I don't like, and it could be in there, but there is no parry system. It seems like they didn't show any kind of parry in here, at least from what I've seen. Obviously there's a block, but I'd prefer for you to have some kind of a parry system. Parrying always feels better than blocking. Just, I hope that there is some kind of a parry system in the game. The combat, what he said about it being like 50% exploration, 50% combat, that's fine. If it's gonna be the ratio, if the ratio is gonna kind of be like how Dark Souls is, like let's take Dark Souls 3 for example. And people who have played Dark Souls 3 and who play Dark Souls games would have to educate me. If that is 50% exploration, 50% combat, then I'm fine with that. But if Dark Souls 3 is like 70 or 80% combat and 20%, you know, traversal or whatever, then I think that this game is going to be a big that ratio is going to be a big barrier for someone like me who like wants not constant combat, but you know what I'm saying. You want there to be a constant flow of stuff to do, like actual action or something. I guess that is still constant combat, but you know what I mean. I don't want to be spending like an hour just exploring and then maybe an hour for combat and then an hour exploring, because it feels like the game feels like the game's gonna come to like a screeching halt every whatever the interval is. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong about that. I hope that's just like me being uneducated, especially like with Souls games. So people who play Souls games, you would have to educate me, let me know if that's the way it is, if the ratio is the same. One thing I will praise them on is their set design, their enemy design. I love the world design. I love it. I love the hollows. They feel very eldritch and creepy, but also futuristic in a way. Not like a machine futuristic, but kind of like the kind of old futuristic type of thing. Like if you know, like what would be an example? Like in Assassin's Creed, when we found out what I think it was like the Isu or something, the ones who came before, they were like futuristic, but also not futuristic, if you know what I'm saying. That's the kind of vibe I get with this, and I love it. I love that the enemies, like if like here, where it's like you have different enemies doing stuff to protect other ones, and it's like you kind of have to manage stuff like that. I love things like that. I kind of like being overwhelmed with multiple layer, like when enemies start to layer on stuff that you have to grapple with. I like stuff like that. I just need a parry system to go along with it. But I like what I see. It's the biggest hang up I think I'm gonna have is the whole exploration thing where the game's gonna feel like it's coming to a halt. I'm hoping that I'm completely wrong on that and my worries are completely unfounded. But let's take a quick look at the comments. Seems more Zelda than Souls. That's another good example. Zelda, I guess Zelda would like if you were to take something like Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, if that's 50-50, because the ratio is what I'm hung up on, because he made it so specific, and 50-50 isn't really specific, but it kind of is. It kind of gives me an avenue to think about how much combat there's going to be in the game. I'm sorry if I'm stumbling over my words. I'm trying to articulate what I'm thinking in my head. Is Hadia like a Slavic country? Interesting world building and enemy design. I agree. Yep, that's what I said. The enemy design and world design is very, very nice. I love it. What your dreams look like when you spend all day playing Fallout, Skyrim, Death Stranding, and Dark Souls. Death Stranding, that's another one that it also kind of reminds me of. Death Stranding, Dark Souls. I don't know about Fallout, but well, I guess Fallout because of the some of the torn up stuff. Interesting, but no Ukrainian language. Why would there need to be a Ukrainian language? Am I missing something with that? Why would there need to be? I don't know. There might be something I'm missing with that. The idea behind this game seems pretty cool visually speaking. Looks like Death Stranding, but without all the pretentiousness. Jonathan also has this genuine excitement and authenticity when talking about the game. If the dev and studio's intentions are in the right place, the player base will do right by them. Agreed. Death Stranding, I'm probably gonna get absolutely destroyed for what I'm about to say here, and I'm sorry, Kojima fans, but And this is something, let me bear in mind, this is somebody who played like an hour of Metal Gear Solid 5, and then I watched a few hours of Death Stranding. I don't know if Kojima, oh my God, I swear people are gonna absolutely destroy me for saying this or thinking this. Kojima strikes me as the kind of guy that's he's too artsy for his own good.
Oh, hell no.
What did you say, nigga?
Kind of like you just, I get a feel whenever I see Kojima do stuff, it's cool, it's wild, it's crazy, but he kind of strikes me kind of like Jordan Peele.
What did he say?
Like everything has this extra deeper meaning. Oh, there's some tweezers on a table and it's supposed to represent the insignificance of the universe. This tweezer sitting on a desk with nothing else around it. It's supposed to represent us. Like, it's that type of thing. That's what I get when I see Kojima's stories. They're just like, it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. Again, could be because me being uneducated, but just when the dude said pretentiousness, it just like it awoke in something. It was like, yes, thank you. That's my issue with Kojima's stuff. I love Kojima. I love what Kojima does, because you need somebody that's extremely creative and will just do shit. But it kind of makes it hard to digest for me anyway. I've never played any of the Metal Gear. I never played any of the Metal Gear games aside from Revengeance. Like, that's the only Metal Gear game that I've played through. I played a little bit of a few of them, but I've never played one through aside from Revengeance. And I'm sure Metal Gear fans would say that Revengeance isn't a real Metal Gear game. Fair. But that's all I'm gonna get on with Kojima. Please do not crucify me too much in the comments for saying that. But other than that, the game Hell Is Us looks fun. It's definitely a game that I want to play. I really hope that they do a demo. More games need to do demos. Like, I don't understand why games don't do them. But that's pretty much all I got. I will see you guys in the next one. Y'all take care.